That's Fleetwood Mac and My Little Demon. 8:07 the time. Welcome to a Monday edition of the Mornings with Ed show. A little drizzly here along Southern California's coastline. Wherever you're listening from across the globe, across the country, welcome and thank you for being here. I often say you'd be shocked to find out how talented your neighbors are or how many different talents your neighbors have. Here in Southern California and certainly in Laguna Beach, we all know Jason Feddy as a magnificent performer, guitarist, singer, songwriter, everything musical. We know that. But did we know he's also an author, and a pretty damn good one. He brings with him Michael Waldman today. They together have written a story called The Glory of Groveling, Apology, A Simple Path to More Freedom and Happiness. We welcome into the Artist Corner for the conversation this morning, Jason Feddy and Michael Waldman. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Can I ask you a question? Whose idea was this? 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, the time was my idea. As I recall, you gleefully accepted.
I think I did, but you know, oftentimes you go, right, yeah, this is going to be great, but it's months away. By then, I'll be a much better person.
I'll be able to I'll catch up on sleep beforehand.
I know. By then, I'll have it all worked out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it comes around.
Yeah.
And, here I am. So you can hear my voice.
Yeah. And I know you performed last night, and nighttime gigs are probably a drag to have to wake up.
I have no excuse. Yeah. I'm not making excuses.
And you're not. You came on time. You're here. You're fine. Yeah,
I did get here on time, but only because Mike woke me up at 20 to 8, just to make sure that I was awake, which I wasn't. Right. Anyway, thank you guys.
Well, thank you. Well, you look fresh right now.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Very kind. I look like I was recently electrocuted. But
here's what I want to know. Did you do anything to Ed to have this be payback? Is Ed making you suffer?
Yeah, he's like, right, I'm going to get this guy up in the middle of the night.
What do you need to apologize to Ed for, Jason? That's
just
what
for being 5 minutes late this morning. I don't like to waste people's time.
Absolutely no apologies necessary, man. This is I am delighted and honored to have you both here. And I think I'll just start with let's start from the beginning. The concept of the book, I love the name, Glory of Groveling. It's a beautiful name for a book, but it's about apology. And by apologizing, by being apologetic, finding a freedom in that, finding a value in that. How did this come up?
You're looking at me,
I'm
looking that I'm supposed to answer this question. Well,
more payback.
It's weird. It's actually interesting that you say being apologetic. I haven't thought about us as being apologetic.
Yes, I thought the same exact thing when he said that.
Yeah.
This book's not about being apologetic. It is about apologizing.
It is about apologizing, yeah.
And what's
really
the difference in those two things?
Yes. That's a very interesting distinction, which I think if I was wide awake, I'd probably have a better handle on. But I think being apologetic sounds like the book. It sounds like groveling, doesn't it?
The title of the book. It most certainly does.
And the word groveling is, we use it kind of as a joke. It's supposed to catch your eye, you know.
Right.
And if you are irritated by the word groveling, then the book is definitely for you. You know, because I had the idea, and I think Mike will agree, that it was my idea to write this book, and the name, The Glory of Groveling, came to me very early on. I thought, and I really thought, to be honest with you, that if we get a publishing deal for this book, which we eventually did, the publisher's not going to go for this name. It just seems like it's too flip, it's too sarcastic, it's whatever.
Right.
But everybody's loved the name, right, including the publisher.
Right. And this guy right here, I love the name. I think it's perfect. And I love the cover of the book even better.
Thank you. Yeah, we did that. We did the cover too. But the tagline is kind of more serious. Apology, a simple path to more freedom and happiness. That's true. That's exactly as it says on the can. So learning to apologize in order to fix broken relationships, which is what this book is about, or stuck relationships, creates freedom and happiness, and who doesn't want a bit more of that, you know?
Is it as simple as an apology to repair relationships?
Yeah, well, that's just a one-word tagline for a big process.
Right.
And really what the book is about is the fact that we make mistakes all day long.
Right.
There's nothing more human than making mistakes.
Right.
I know that I've made, I wondered if I was making a mistake calling Jason this morning so early.
It wasn't a
I can
mistake.
count on the fact that I'm going to make at least 10 mistakes
Right.
every day. But we as a culture are afraid to admit our mistakes.
Right.
We're afraid to own our mistakes. And so what gives you the freedom and happiness is a willingness to share, okay, I've made a mistake. It's a willingness to say, this is my fault. This is what I did, and this is what I'm going to do to clean it up.
Right.
So it's the ownership, it's the level of responsibility that brings that freedom and happiness to a relationship.
I want to, for a moment, just get into the psychology of some that are willing to do that. And yes, I agree with you. Owning your mistake is the start, is the genesis of moving forward. Jason and I both know people that will not admit to a mistake. When you cross paths with them, do you have to kind of take that first step and apologize first in hoping to get what might be perhaps an insincere apology back?
That's a good question. I think that, let's start with this. If as you say, we come across people in our lives who will not take responsibility for some action or other.
Right.
Where does that leave you? I'm throwing a question back at you. Well, I think, to answer my own question, that leaves you in a place where you just can't trust that person, and lack of trust is not a basis for a relationship. So it's just coming into contact with I don't like the word reality, but with what actually happens. I made a mistake. That's what happened.
Right.
If I can come into contact with that and then make that right in some way, well, then now you can trust me. I mean, people know me. People who know Jason Feddy know that I can be a bit of a loose cannon.
Mm.
I really can.
Yeah.
And it's who knows? It's sort of whether it's you could try and be a psychologist, amateur psychologist. Oh, it's a coping mechanism. It's this, it's that. Whatever it is.
It's being British.
That's as solid an answer as you could give right there.
It's whatever it is. If it's being British,
Right.
Whatever it is, I did something
Right.
that steps on your toes.
Right.
And I need to come into contact with what happened first. I need to come into contact. You're in contact with it. You felt me step on your toes. I need to come into contact with that. Figure out a way to come to you and say and acknowledge it, own it, have a relationship with it,
Right.
whatever it is I did,
Right.
and then make a promise that I'm not going to do it again.
Right.
And ask you how it affected you. These are the in essence the steps that we have 6.5 steps of groveling in our book.
It seems what you've just described seems utterly decent.
Well, thank you very much. It's
And-
very nice of you to say.
I'm going to interrupt for a second, okay? Because
Okay.
Jason tells a story in the book about a place that you guys used to work at,
Right. Yeah.
and about the guy that you used to work for.
the mutual person that we know that I
And-
don't feel would apologize sincerely to either of us.
And so you'll have to buy the book and read the story, Ed. But so to give away a little bit of the story, there was a break in their relationship,
Right.
and for the longest time, Jason felt that it was this person's fault.
Right.
And so he went to his brother, and he was like, I think it's this person's fault. And his brother basically took a book and slapped him on the side of the head and said, you don't see the mistakes that you've made in the relationship. And let me tell you what an arrogant SOB you are. And
That's exactly what he said.
And it woke Jason up.
Right.
And so he did go back to this person, and he did apologize for being that arrogant SOB, even though to begin with he didn't see it. Interestingly, that person then apologized. So when you bring responsibility to a relationship, oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes, the person will reciprocate.
Right. And I'll let that go.
Yeah, I mean that's right. It tends to work out.
Right.
It doesn't always work out, and you can't march into an apology with an expectation that you'll get one in return.
Right.
In fact, you can't have any expectation at all.
Yes. You can't even have an expectation to be forgiven when you apologize.
You just have to know that you're the one that's feeling the freedom of the apology.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to get all metaphysical at this time of the morning, but something occurs. Something bigger than the apology occurs. Certainly for the person who's apologising, and for the apologise-ee, I guess you'd call them.
Yeah.
We call that person your friend in the book, and if you read the book, you find out why we call that person your friend.
Even the people that you hate.
Even the people you hate, yeah.
Right.
But something occurs, something has happened, and I learned to apologise by being in recovery. Everybody knows someone who's in recovery.
Right.
I got sober 20-something years ago, 26 years ago, and I got in these 12-step program, and I learned as one of the steps, or two of the steps, 8 and 9, they're the amends steps.
Right. Number 9, step 9.
I know it's very and I know I've heard from people that say, there he comes again with his step 9, get it over with. Okay, it's easy to be cynical about it, but I found that thing, coming into contact with the people that I'd literally hurt back in the day, that was a very powerful process, and so I always had this idea that maybe this could be misguided. You shouldn't take these things and say, right, now I'm going to change the world. Right. But I knew how powerful it was for me, and I wanted to write this thing. And then Michael comes for his own tradition of, if you like, amends and let's just say fixing broken relationships. Right. Mike's a long-time consultant in business, in people's personal lives, well before there was such a thing as personal coaches, and whatever they call them now.
30 years, over 30 years.
Yeah. So he is very experienced, and I just happened to be talking to him about it, and I got lucky in the person that I was talking to, and he's been instrumental in just getting this thing off the ground, So anyway, I forget where I was. It's too early in the morning.
Well, I would add to what Jason said that we write in the book that an apology is the closest thing to magic that you can find. You were asking, does it create freedom and happiness? Listen, not only does it create freedom and happiness, it puts you in a whole new world.
Yeah.
It creates a whole new future for you to live into. And that's what Jason's talking about when he's saying in recovery. When he went through those steps, he found himself not just a better person, he found himself a new person.
Yeah, I wasn't just not drinking.
Yeah.
That's a bit, sounds a bit, okay, you weren't drinking, well, great, bully for you,
Right.
Bully for all of us. It put me it put me, as Mike says, in a different world. I'm not saying it created a new person. That sounds a bit woo-woo to me.
Did you see yourself differently?
Well, he saw the whole world differently.
I saw the entire world differently.
Okay.
I wasn't really looking at myself, frankly, and because I think that's, it's sort of it presumes a sort of self-centeredness. Oh, you've got to love yourself. Well, just stop thinking about yourself. I didn't sit there and go, right, now I'm not going to think about myself. That's impossible.
Right.
Don't think about an elephant. Well, we've all just thought about an elephant, haven't we? So it did create a world in which I wasn't thinking about myself, quite so much, and I felt a little more confident. I've certainly felt more free. I was a jolly little soul again, which was very nice. Having spent all those years addicted to heavy drugs and blah, it makes you miserable, And it was I had some trust in people. I knew that whatever happened, everything would work out all right. And I knew I could do my job and be married and have a little white dog, and
Right.
And if I showed up 5 minutes late for a radio interview, I would make it right.
Right. I didn't know the Jason before, but I've known you the last few years or whatever, and I like the guy that I know.
Well, that's great.
I like the guy.
So
I
do
know.
I.
And like you said earlier, where you can be. Thank you.
I'm still
You've got
trying
excellent taste, Ed.
I'm still trying to decide.
Mike's not sure. But
I'm not sure yet.
So I like what you said earlier about the freedom that you felt and the what that does for you. I, like you, can be a loose cannon and find that now I'm more measured. And if I feel that I've hurt someone close, a friend, a lover, or whatever, I feel that I immediately apologize. Hey, I owe you an apology. I can almost catch it as I do it because I know I can be an asshole. I catch it as I do it. However, in my youth, I'm sure that I hurt just a ton of people because I was a real asshole in my youth.
well,
Allow me for a moment.
yeah, go ahead.
If I was to go back 30 plus years and want to apologize to someone who has long since gotten over it, who has long since not even cared about whether I apologize or not, is that doing me better or is it doing them any good?
Well, I can only share from my own experience.
Okay.
Which is when I was probably between the time I was 13 till the time I was probably 23 or 24, I was a big a-hole.
Okay.
I just did the worst possible things to people, all to friends.
Right.
And
What kind of things do you do, Michael?
I don't think it's necessary to get into those things.
You don't owe me an apology. I mean, you don't have to apologise to me. I'd be fascinated to know the kind.
It's true. Well, if you come to, we're having a book launch on July 7th.
Are you going to tell a story?
I may tell, but I actually did go back in my 50s and 60s. So I'm 70 years old now. I'm not a young guy.
Right.
I went back in my 50s and 60s, and I cleaned it up with those people. And I now have relationships with almost all of those people. Some people would not accept my apology,
Right.
but that's okay. I as they say, I cleaned up my side of the street. But I did find that what are we talking about when we're talking about freedom? Freedom means I can now talk to friends I had in my 20s that I couldn't talk to before. I'm free to have those friendships. Right. And that to me is a gift. So the answer is yes.
Okay.
I say. Now, will you make mistakes doing that? Absolutely. Right. Will people get upset with you? Absolutely. Right. But you can live your life being afraid of upsetting people, or you could live your life trying to take responsibility for your mistakes. And it's a choice.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about, Ed, what you said about these old, literally are resentments.
Right.
That word resentment is obviously you've heard 12-step people use that word a lot, but it literally means to feel again. Again. Right. Sentiment is like the same root, Latin root as sentiment. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So to feel again, you think of that person. It was 42 years ago. You think of that person, you get that little cringy feeling. Right. If you're in the supermarket and you saw them round the corner, you'd probably cross into the next aisle. That's not freedom. That's not what freedom looks like.
Right.
So, and it's certainly not what happiness looks like. So, some of those things from years and years ago, it's good questions when you say, maybe that person hasn't thought about you for 42 years. Right. Maybe they don't want to talk to you. Maybe. So we do suggest, our very first suggestion in the book is that we contact a person that we think we should contact and ask if it's okay to apologise. That's the first thing.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
You don't want to rush in. I don't want people knocking on my door from my past.
Right. Exactly.
Call me and say, look, I don't feel good about what happened between us. It's a long time ago, and I'm sure you're surprised to hear from me. I'd like to apologise to you. Can I buy you a coffee? Simple as that. Now, that might be the end of it. They might say, no, I don't want to talk to you. Or can I get back to you? And then they never do. Or can I get back to you? And they do. I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios possible, right? But you made the phone call. Now, that may be as far as you get. But I guarantee, people they'll say, well, I called him. And they're right.
Right.
Yeah, you called him.
I reached out.
You reached out, exactly.
Right.
And so we're not suggesting a perfect system here. We are not...
Not foolproof.
We're not foolproof, and we're not ramming anything down anybody's throats. We'd need to apologise for that,
Right.
which we're careful not to. I promised not to ever be that kind of didactic personality. I don't want to be that guy, so I'm not going to be. We've got a set of ideas here that work for us
Right.
and have really changed our lives. And obviously, my life changed. Now my wife's life has changed. Her life changes. Now her mother's life changes. It creates a huge ripple effect. That's, so what you like about me, but people that know me know you can trust me to fix my mess, to clean up my mess, And if you want to employ me, you would say to whoever, you'd say, look, Jason's a bit of a nutcase at times, but when he makes a mistake, he fixes it, and you can't ask for more than that, because everyone's going to make mistakes. It's when you can't trust people to make it right. That's when you've got a situation in which you are nervous, and you don't want. If you're my employer, you don't want to be nervous. Why would you employ somebody who made you nervous?
Well put. My partner of 23 years, when there's a difference of opinion, someone always apologizes, and she always says, "That's okay, Ed."
I'm lucky
it's usually
way.
me that's wrong. It's usually me that's
Ed?
wrong.
I'm lucky in that way. That's fortunate. My wife is very forgiving. In every, you just say sorry. You don't have to. You don't need a book with
Right.
my wife. You just say, "Oh, sorry,"
Yeah.
and that's enough.
Right.
But just saying sorry doesn't create much in the way of freedom and happiness. There's more to it than that.
If you haven't yet reached out to this particular person, if there's a person in your past from, let's say, 20, 25, 30 years ago, that you felt whatever it was you did, you broke them in a way, have you reached out to them, and have they shared back that you broke them?
That's very dramatic way of saying it.
Broke is harsh.
Well, sometimes
you
in a
do.
relationship
And by
you
the
can
way,
break somebody.
If you've done something which is, let's say, horribly illegal and really morally destitute, reprehensible. Thank you.
Right.
The kinds of things that really do have that kind of profound traumatic effect on other human beings. We are not really qualified to speak to those things specifically, and we do say that in the book. That we realise that we're not professional trauma counsellors.
Right.
That's not our thing.
Right.
We're speaking to your average Joe who screws things up on a daily basis. That's that's like everybody.
Right.
But so to say, if you really did break somebody, I don't know.
I like the look you made.
I don't know what that means, I'd be very cautious.
But there is a step. There is a step in the book. And
Let's say you left someone at the altar.
yeah,
Right,
well,
that kind of thing. That's pretty diabolical behaviour, isn't it? Yeah.
Right.
part of the steps is you have to get really into the shoes of the other person
Yeah.
and really own the impact of your mistake.
Right.
You have to really consider, what was it like to be left at the altar? And you have to be willing to ask, what was it like to be left at the altar, so that you could confront the damage that you did.
Right.
If you don't confront the damage that you did, your apology can never be authentic.
And by the way, we do suggest very strongly, in fact, without this, I don't think that our system works at all, that you have a what we call a
Fair witness.
A fair witness. Obviously, I have a sponsor in my recovery,
Right.
But I have a mental health team. I have a bunch of people. Michael mentioned my brother, who I can call and say, "How did I screw? What did I do here?" And he will tell me without, he won't pull his punches. And I need that. I need somebody to see it from a different point of view and to help me to see, if not what I did, because I'll tell him what I did, but the effects, how that could have. Because you're going to ask when you go to the person and apologise, you're going to say, "How did this affect you? Is there anything more?" I'm imagining how it affected you when I left you at the altar, but you'll have a different. You have a different story to me. I'm wearing a T-shirt today that says "unreliable narrator," which is, again, is a joke, but we're all unreliable narrators when it comes to our lives.
Right.
But partly because of what you were talking about before. When we're young, we want to look good.
Right.
Much more difficult to admit your mistakes when you're 22 than it is when you're 62.
Right.
Why? Because when you're 22, you're concerned, very concerned about how you look and how you occur to people, how you come across to people. At our age, whatever.
There's less of an air of arrogance.
Right. Well, we've just got different chemicals
Right.
flowing around our body.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
It's not because we've learned anything. Our testosterone's gone down. So whatever it is, anyway, it's a little bit different when you're older. But when you're young, I remember wanting to look good. Everything was about looking good. The clothes I chose, the friends I hung out with, the story I told about my life. My childhood, whatever, all of that, I just wanted to look good, even if that made me look, even if sometimes looking bad makes you look good, being the bad boy, let's say, or that kind of thing. So it's all very complicated, but we make it simple in the book.
Okay.
I just want to. I got interested in this book because what I said earlier about this idea of cleaning up your mistakes.
Right.
So I was a corporate consultant for 30 years. And one of the things that I know, and it's not just 22-year-olds, it's 30-year-olds and 42-year-olds and 52-year-olds and 62-year-olds, is that people hide their mistakes.
Right.
And in corporate life, that's dangerous. And that doesn't stop people from hiding their mistakes. So I would be blown away by the extent that people would go out of their way. Well, why would people hide their mistakes? Oh, maybe we're going to get sued.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh, maybe somebody's going to report me to HR. Maybe I'll get fired. Interesting, the thing that I found out is that the more people cleaned up their mistakes, the better they looked at work. So it was complete opposite of the way our brain often talks to us. Our brain tells us, hide this because you might look bad.
That's so interesting.
But interestingly, the more people are honest about their mistakes, the better they look to the people around them. Jason's a great, of course that happened with me also. But in corporate life, in work life, it makes you trustworthy.
And by the way, they're not wrong. You could be sued.
Right.
You could be fired.
Right. You
could lose your income. You could lose your partnership. You could lose your friendships. It's true. It's not wrong.
Right.
The part of the magic, though, for me has been that when I began to pay my debts, I began to make money. It's a very odd thing.
Right.
And I cannot explain that except to say I became trustworthy and people employed me. It created a new world for me. That's the to go back to that point.
Yep.
There's a new world which you can't explain the world.
Right.
That would be philosophical.
It's
Interesting, but not. How do you do it?
when you start paying, like for instance, when you start paying your debts, you take on a sense of responsibility that responsibility can be seen in your being by the next person that's going to employ you. They sense that responsibility.
And even if they don't sense it, somebody will tell them.
Right.
Somebody will say. So
Right.
they'll ask.
Right.
A smart employer will ask somebody, "What do you think about Jason?" And that person will say, "He's great. He pays his debts." It was very simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this powerful desire to look good
And protect ourselves.
and protect ourselves from the possibility of something happening that we don't like. It really clouds. It creates a very small world, and we're trying to help people to create much bigger, much more fun worlds for themselves. Because this has worked for us. So we sat down to go, right, what is it that makes this happen? What are the steps? We're desperate to find another word. Steps is so steppy, isn't it? But,
Right.
what are the how does this work? What are the bullet points?
What's the formula for
Right,
this?
what's the formula? Well, it's a recipe. We use the word recipe in the book. And the recipe contains ingredients, and it contains a method.
Right.
Right. So that's what the book is, really. It's a recipe book. And everybody's got these broken relationships. I would hate people to feel like they're the only one. The whole point is that we've all got somebody in our past, whether it's the recent past or the distant past, that we would cross the street to avoid, and that's having a profound effect that we call, what do we call it? This psychic
weight.
Psychic weight. People are carrying it around.
Right.
You know, you can say I work with bands, as you know, right? So you got 9 people backstage. Everybody's talking, and they're talking about some dude who they worked with,
right.
and you see the anger and irritation, you know, and they're looking for somebody to agree with them. Oh yeah, I worked with that guy. He was a total asshole.
Right.
You know, and then they get this whole thing going between them. This agreement of this guy's such an asshole.
This
Meanwhile,
synergy of hate.
Meanwhile, the guy's, you know, won an Oscar.
Right.
He doesn't care about what you think about
Right.
him. So, and my job, you know, as an employer, is to get these people to work happy and free.
Right.
Whatever I can do, you know.
In the writing of this book, a cringeworthy chapter for you?
We cringed and cringed. I'm cringing now, Ed. I just my life's a total cringe.
Well, almost at the very beginning, and we tell the story in the book. You know, we were writing at Jason's house.
Right.
Ava came in, Jason's wife, and she was listening because she can't not hear us. We're
It's
loud.
just 800 square feet. Miles.
You can't, and she made a really good suggestion, and I got so crazy annoyed that somebody would get in the way of our creative process.
The beauty of our creative.
And I was ready to walk out.
He was really mad.
I was, and Jason said, "Well, you should definitely walk out."
No. Well, I certainly had. See, I wanted to look good, but not to him, to my wife.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you never get between a man and his wife. You know, and I was like, well, whatever Mike wants here, I can't. I'm certainly not going to tell my wife to shut up. You know?
Right or wrong, you've got to support her.
Well, I'm not going to tell. You know, I'm not going to tell her to shut up.
Right.
That's not my job.
Right.
So it was Mike was clearly pissed, and it was a moment. Sorry, I interrupted
Well,
you.
that's really okay because it really was a two-sided story.
I was there.
I realized in that moment
Right.
that I had lost my mind. And there are times when I lose my mind. I just go crazy. You know, you see people yelling at each other in cars. They've lost their minds.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's a common occurrence for all of
And
us.
it doesn't matter why. I mean, you can start to think about what was going on for Mike in that moment. But that's really not the point. He lost his mind.
Right.
And it created nobody was free, nobody was happy in that moment, right?
How long before you apologized?
It was about, I think it was either there or by the time I drove home.
Yeah, when he got home. It was minutes.
Okay.
Within
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
It was I just realized how much I was losing in the losing my relationship with Jason, losing my relationship with Ava. I've
Losing your own cool.
Yeah.
We forgave him for that immediately. It's not all right. So he got
And so I
pissed.
just called up and just completely apologized. It was very good groveling, I must admit.
You did. It was a very good job. And that, by the way, that's happened a few times in our relationship, Mike and I. And I think that if it just proves that that our system works.
Yeah.
Because if we'd have got halfway through this book and called each other an asshole and that was the end of it, well, then we've got nothing to say, have we?
Right.
But we were able to. When you work with somebody close quarters, you know how it is. You're collaborating.
Right.
It can get intense. And that can lead to some crappy behaviour. If somebody's hungry or tired or whatever.
Or your ego's defense mechanisms
Oh,
are
with two massive
on
egos.
fire. Right. Yeah.
Two huge egos writing
Right.
a book together,
Right.
close quarters,
Right.
arguing over every little word, every
Right.
little nuance, noun, adjective, whatever. It can lead to you bang heads.
Yeah.
But we fixed it every time within minutes. Our recovery time is very short.
The cover of the book is striking. It's an empty bowl that you used to see kids holding in the UNICEF commercials.
Yeah.
This is Andre.
Yes, you've got it.
Andre's lost his.
For $52 a year.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It is that. I'm curious as to the process of selecting that particular photo for the front of the book.
Oh, we were looking for it because we'd learned about this idea, this
Japanese philosophy.
Japanese philosophy of it. It's called a kintsugi bowl.
Okay.
It's kintsugi. It's got a G at the
Close
end.
enough for jazz.
Yeah, but not close enough for Japanese people, probably. It's a bowl that has been created by an artist or an artisan, and then it's used. It's either used until it breaks, or it's broken on purpose, and then they glue it back together with this strong glue,
Gold.
which has got gold in it.
Okay.
And and then it's so the idea is that the bowl is then stronger than it was prior to being broken.
Perfect.
And it's also more beautiful, which is a great analogy. It's not the first time this analogy has been used for fixing relationships. I've seen it around online a lot since then, but we thought we thought this was our idea.
It's a great cover. Now the explanation is perfect. I love that.
So relationships, like they say about a broken bone, but it's stronger than it was prior to being broken.
Right.
And it's really true that a relationship that's relationship that's run aground, to use another pun, that when it's put back in the sea, when the work is done to make it saleable again, it's a better ship than it was prior to it being tested, and so we found this image and we bought it and we sent it to the publisher and we said, this is the image for the cover, and he said okay.
It's perfect.
He liked it. Yeah,
I love the description, and thank you for that description. Book signing coming up
July 9th at Laguna Beach Bookstore.
Okay.
We're inviting everybody to come down and hear us talk about the book and the best and worst apologies. There are some really great, by the way, there are great apologies in here from our friends and neighbors in Laguna Beach.
yeah. We asked them to write to us.
We asked them for their best or their worst apologies that they either gave or received. And some of them are so outrageous that you should so much fun to read.
They're toward the end of the book. We don't comment on them. We're not trying to. It's not like they sent us an apology and we sort of
Tear it apart.
tear it apart or
Right.
comment or show how clever we are by whatever.
Right.
No.
By
We're just
riffing on their apology.
No. We don't. We're not. That's not. You pay a lot of money for that for consultancy with Michael. It's not that. It's just for the reader to just get a sense of other people's attempts at apology or at receiving apologies. We're all in this together. So you may read the book and consider yourself an expert at apologising, and then you'll read one and you'll go, oh, that's terrible, or wow, that's brilliant, or it's for the reader to sort of take away. That's all. It's not. They're just great fun.
So we'll read some of those, and by the way, Jason hasn't said this, and I'll be the one that promotes this because it might be a little. He's too humble to say. Jason is in the process of writing songs about the world of apology with the most world famous songwriter that you can imagine, Paul Williams, the guy who wrote "We've Only Just Begun."
Right.
Oscar-winning songwriter,
Absolutely
Grammy-winning
prolific
songwriter,
and brilliant songwriter.
And he'll be singing their first song that they wrote together at Laguna Beach Bookstore on July 9th. So come on down. We'll be signing books. It's going to be at 6 o'clock, and we really want to support our local independent bookstore.
And we'll be shouting it from here between now and July 9th. The book is The Glory of Groveling, Apology, A Simple Path to More Freedom and Happiness. Jason Feddy and Michael Waldman. Where do we find it that benefits you the most?
There's no benefit us the most.
All right.
Go to the Laguna Beach Bookstore.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would support local bookstores.
Right.
That not only do they stock works by local authors, but they really love books.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to say anything bad about the big corporate whatever, but the people there are book lovers.
Right.
They also love readers of books. They keep a big email list, and they'll write to you and they'll keep in touch with you, and they'll be gentle about that stuff, and they're great. They're really fantastic people.
And if you're out of the Southern California area, you could find it at Barnes & Noble online. You could find it at Amazon.com. And we have to tell you that the Audible version of it is fantastic.
It's really great, yeah.
Really fantastic.
Is it your
No,
voice?
I didn't do it. I asked the publisher, can I do it? and I got the quickest no I've ever received in my life. And, it was like there was no room for negotiation. Like he was like, no.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why not? He said, because we've got a guy, and he's very professional, and you can imagine how it would have been with me. It'd been back and forth for 6 months, so because I'm not a professional. But this guy, English voice, which we asked for, British voice, yeah, and he just pitches it right. We both listened to it and went, wow, this is really. In fact, a friend of mine in England said, you got to listen to your book. It's really great.
I listened to it in the car. I'm like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, the guy's good. So I must contact him and thank him. But it's really good.
The Glory of Groveling Apology, A Simple Path to More Freedom and Happiness. Jason Feddy, Michael Waldman, thanks so much for being here and taking the time with us today. We'll see you on July 9th.
Hey,
Thank
thanks,
you,
Ed.
Ed.
Thanks for everything you do around town.
Always. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate you guys both. 8:47 the time, 13 in front of 9 o'clock. Coming up at 9 o'clock, it's the morning's personal stash and intro wars on Voice of Laguna.